So parents and residents here want some answers. We have reached out to Texas authorities to ask more questions about the timeline. We hope to get those answers today and in the coming days, but we are talking about anywhere from 30 minutes to 40 minutes to even an hour that gunman was locked inside there, killing those children. Just to put this in perspective, Parkland, where 17 students died, that was about 10 minutes. We're talking about a much longer timeline here. We should also point out, remember, the law enforcement officers that took out the shooter were Customs and Border Protection. This school district has their own police force. They've put so much resources and so much money into protecting children. It is so hard, and I know it's very early in this investigation, and a lot of questions are being asked. And I spoke with a law enforcement analyst for NBC News yesterday, and I asked him, you know, this sort of starts to feel a little bit like Parkland. What happened in Parkland, where there was an armed guard who is accused of not stopping the shooter, and he told me, listen, we're still getting information, but we also have to remember this young man had an AR-style 15 weapon. He clearly had outgunned the armed officer here. I'm not making excuses. I'm just saying what people are looking at as we discuss and talk about what happened here. Willie?
A lot of open questions there. NBC's Tom Llamas outside Robb Elementary in Uvalde. Tom, thanks. Let's look closer at that investigation into the shooting. For that, we're joined by NBC News national security intelligence correspondent Ken Delaney. And Ken, good morning. So what more have you found this morning about that timeline, about how this started and how long it took to ultimately bring down the shooter?
Good morning, Willie. I think Tom was raising the exact questions that are on the table today that we're all trying to dig into, and they're very important questions. You know, there was a news conference yesterday. Governor Greg Abbott laid out some facts, but he also omitted some key facts. So we did learn, you know, the basic timeline that this began when the gunman shot his grandmother in the face, as the governor put it, and then took her truck and drove it to the school and crashed the truck right near the entrance of the school, and then ran in. And you saw that image there, apparently, of him in black with a weapon. And that's where the confusion begins, because initially the Texas Department of Public Safety had said that an armed school resource officer engaged him on his way into the school. But yesterday, the head of that department gave an entirely different account, which raises fundamental questions. Take a listen.
There was a brave Consolidated Independent School District resource officer that approached him, engaged him, and at that time, gunfire was not exchanged. It confronted him and wanted to find out, because he see the report, heard the accident, and was out trying to check on that particular crash when he saw it. So he followed him right in immediately. Okay.
So the first thing about that is that contradicted what his own agency had been saying earlier, which was that officer did fire his weapon. But then the second thing is, if that's true, it raises a huge question. What are school resource officers for? They are armed officers. They're supposed to be the first line of defense. So if that account is true, for whatever reason, this officer did not try to use force as a man in black carrying a rifle entered the school. And that question needs to be answered. And look, you know, there may be perfectly reasonable explanations for it. And as Tom was alluding to there, these officers initially were outgunned. They're carrying handguns against a person with an AR-15. And you know, frankly, that's an uncomfortable issue for those Republican politicians who were on that podium yesterday, because they argue their policy position is that people should have free access to assault rifles. So these facts need to be ferreted out. And the other big question that Tom laid out that isn't answered is what explains what McCaw said was a 40 to 60 minute gap, a delay. Now, they portrayed it as we had him barricaded in the classroom. That was the classroom where he killed all those children and teachers. So, and it's not clear when exactly that happened. But the authorities have said that initially, after he got into the school, a couple of Uvalde police officers went in, tried to engage him, were unable to bring him down with their handguns. Then he went into the classroom. Then there was this 40 to 60 minute delay while they waited for the better armed tactical team, who were federal agents, to show up. The Associated Press is reporting that during that time, there were bystanders who were screaming at police officers outside saying, "Why aren't you going in?" So Look, this is an awful situation, and no one can put themselves in the place of these law enforcement officers and understand what they went through. But all we can ask is for the facts, and then we can make our own judgment. And I'm not sure that we have all the facts right now.
And as you say, Ken, so often in the early stages of a horror like this, the information we get first is wrong. So we'll continue to look at the investigation, how this plays out. Ken Dilanian, thanks so much, Ken. We appreciate it. We want to be careful about drawing any conclusions because we don't know exactly how or what happened exactly, why the school resource officer who was armed didn't engage the 18-year-old who walked in there with an AR-15, and why it took 30, 40, or perhaps as long as an hour from the time the guy entered the school to the time he was killed for him to be, or how soon the man walked into that classroom and killed those children. We just don't know how it played out yet.
Yeah, Mike, we do, though. We'll be figuring it out. If no gunfire was exchanged when a guy in all black going in with an AR-15 into school, if he was not fired upon, if he was not stopped, it obviously raises a lot of questions, and of course raises. We remember back to Parkland, where you had an officer staying outside while shooting was going on inside, again outgunned. But seems to me we need to come up with a better system to protect our children in classrooms. And sadly, not only these resource officers are going to be outgunned by these weapons of war that Republicans won't take off the streets. Police officers, local police officers will be outgunned as well.